Hey, what's up? My name's Chris Winter and today I'm going to do a review on what I think is Canon's most popular budget prime lens, the Canon 50mm f1.8 or Nifty 50 as many people like to call it. Now this is a fantastic lens for a few different reasons. First off, it has stellar image quality, especially from f2.8 onwards. It's also very lightweight, so it's not a pain to travel with. And thirdly, you can get some really nice background blur or bokeh with this lens because it does have that wide f1.8 aperture. So what I'm going to do now is take a look at a few different things about this lens, give you some samples, and we'll just see how good this Nifty 50 or Plastic Fantastic really is. So let's talk about build quality of this Canon 50mm f1.8. Now this is known to be the Nifty 50 or Plastic Fantastic. Now there's a few different reasons for this. Well, the Nifty 50 is obviously because of the 50mm focal length, and the Plastic Fantastic is pretty much to do with its build quality. It's made pretty much all out of plastic. Now I'm not saying this is a bad lens, but it does mean that you've got to be a little bit careful with this lens because it can break quite easily. Now if we take off the back covering here, you can see that it does have a plastic mount, which is a bit of a pity. I would prefer a metal mount, but the plastic mount does keep down on weight, and it also does keep down on cost, so you can get this lens pretty cheap. It has a 52mm filter ring, which means that the filters, the UV filters and polarizing filters are going to be relatively cheap because there's less glass. Now if we take a look at the focus ring, this is where this lens really does suffer a little bit. It has a very cheap and not very well built focus ring, and it's quite small. So if you're going to be pulling focus with this during video, it is not very good. It's also prone to quite a lot of damage, I've found, because just being made out of plastic, it just doesn't really stand up to that many knocks. So I've owned the Canon 50mm f1.8 for around about 4 or 5 years now, and it's been my go-to lens for travel photography. First off, it's really lightweight, so if you pair it with something like the Canon T3i, it just fits in your bag nicely and it's not a pain to carry around. Secondly, it produces stunning quality images, especially of people and food, and I love food, especially when I'm traveling. So you can see in a few of these different photos, I took all of these with the Canon 50mm f1.8, and you can really isolate the subject, this time the subject being food, and get some really nice photos. So one of the key reasons why many people buy this lens and love this lens is because it's really easy to isolate your subject with background blur or bokeh. Now, because it's got a wide aperture of f1.8, it really is easy to get that nice out of focus area behind your subject. So what I've got right here is my Canon 24mm f2.8, and I'll shoot firstly at f5 and just show you just how much you can get. And you can see right there that that's a really nice image, and but the background isn't completely blown out. We'll step it down to f2.8. You can see that the area behind the lens is really getting quite out of focus. And why not, let's shoot at f1.8. And the lens is pretty much the only thing in focus. So that's definitely one of the reasons why I like this lens. So what is the competition for this lens? Well, there are plenty of options. If you like street photography or you like shooting indoors, I'd probably recommend the Canon 24mm f2.8. This has fantastic autofocus, and it is a really small lens. It's a pancake lens, and it really is a good lens. Stepping up from that, there is the Canon 40mm f2.8, which is another pancake lens. If you see this lens right here, it's pretty much exactly the same looking as this. Great build quality, fast autofocus, and works really well for video. If you like to take portraits, I'd probably recommend the Canon 50mm f1.8 because this is a really small lens. But if you really want to step up and take some nice portraits, I'd probably recommend the Canon 85mm f1.8, which is a beautiful portrait lens. It does have a much longer focal length than this one, so if you are indoors, it might be a little bit tougher to take those shots. But if you do want to take really nice portraits, I'd recommend that lens. So I'd like to quickly talk about vignetting, or the lack of vignetting, because this Canon 50mm f1.8 really doesn't suffer that much, especially if you knock it down to around about f3.5. So what I'll do right now is take a photo of my white wall that I've got right here. We're going to be at f1.8 to start off with. And you can see that there is a little bit of vignetting around the edges. And so what I'll do right now is knock it down to f3.5. And you can see that pretty much it's all gone. So generally cheap lenses don't have very good autofocus performance, and the Canon 50mm f1.8 is no exception. It's got pretty slow autofocus, especially at night. It does tend to hunt, and it is also pretty noisy. Now I've got a few different things lined up on my desk here, and I'll just try and focus on them, and we'll see just how quick it is and how noisy it is. So I'm using a Canon T3i. you can hear that if you do lock it onto a contrasty subject, it does work quite well, but it can be quite noisy. What I'll do right now is take try and autofocus on like my desk right here, which doesn't have much contrast, and we'll see just how well that works. So you can hear that it really didn't work very well. I'll just do it onto my white wall. So without much contrast, this lens does really suffer. So a little tip is to look for a contrasty area in your subject, say the Canon logo here on this lens, and it will autofocus very well. But if not, this lens really does suffer. So there you have it. That was the Canon 50mm f1.8. Now, if you like this video, I would really appreciate it if you leave a thumbs up because it means a lot to me. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.